so in early May with breast cancer, and I'm 57 years old.
Thank you for coming today.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm so looking forward to chatting about your story throughout COVID, but I wanted to just get you in so you could tell me the full situation.
Yeah, so it's been horrendous.
I can imagine.
I found a lump in my left breast in April. And went to rang the doctor, nobody was seeing anybody.
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
So he said needed to refer me to the Leeds Breast Clinic. They were going to take about 3 weeks to see me, which was a long 3 weeks. I was fortunate that I had private healthcare with my work, so I rang them and they then put me in touch with somebody that I could see within about 5 days, which was great. Yeah. However, I had to go to Nottingham because all of the private hospitals in Leeds were dealing with COVID.
Oh my gosh.
So it was, well, initially I wasn't really bothered because it was quite nice just to get out in the car,
you know, go for a drive.
Go for a long drive legally. So I went to Nottingham and met with the consultant who's also the surgeon, and more or less as soon as she looked at my breast, she said she knew it was cancer. Which was really scary because I wasn't allowed anyone in, so my husband was sat in the car.
So you didn't have anybody with you at that time?
Nobody. I kept texting him saying this didn't look good, but...
I bet he was so worried as well.
I know.
It
was awful. And then they sent me for a mammogram, an ultrasound and a biopsy, which they're not pleasant, but they have to be done.
Yeah.
Went back in to see my surgeon and she basically said, yes, it's definitely cancer. What we don't know is what grade it is or stage or anything. She said she could probably do what they call a lumpectomy, which is just taking out the tumour. But then after the MRI, they found out that I'd got 2 different sorts in the left breast and also some in the right. Because of where it was in the left, I've had to have a mastectomy, which I had in June. And she's managed to save my right boob. So I've still got that. Yeah. COVID has been awful because I can't have reconstruction because of COVID. Otherwise I would have had reconstruction straight away.
So what was the reason for that?
Because she had longer recovery.
Right.
So I was dropped off in Nottingham for the surgery by my husband, which was horrendous. Even he got upset because it's dropping me off for quite a traumatic.
It is such a big, you need so much support, I would imagine.
And also because of COVID, which again they told me just before I was going down to the theatre that they had to put me on a ventilator. Again, because it was to stop me spreading COVID, even though I didn't have it because I'd been tested. So it was really quite traumatic.
Because it's one of those, isn't it, where, I imagine it's such a traumatic experience anyway, aside from having a global pandemic to deal with, that then, them two together, it's almost like going through it all on your own, I would imagine,
That's exactly what it was, and it really sort of freaked me out when they told me this, that they put me on it, because all I'd heard for 6 months was how all these people were on ventilators. But I was literally on it for probably a few minutes, so it was okay. But the reconstruction bit was upsetting because I've got to now go and have that done probably next year, which again is another major operation.
I mean, by next year you would hope that you can at least have people around you when you have that done. Do you know what I mean? You're not having to go and have it on your own.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if they said I'd have to have it on me, I don't think they'd do it unless we're back to normal or whatever normal is.
Well, if ever we get
get back to normal. So it's been tough.
So you're still are you having chemo sessions now?
So I had...
it's been quite a fast process then, really, if it's been since April.
So it was May the 7th I was diagnosed, and then I had to have a few more tests each week for 2 or 3 weeks. Then the surgery was June. They need to give you time to recover from that, and I started chemo the end of July. I've got one tomorrow, and that's my last.
Oh, that's your last
one? So that's good, yeah.
We'll do a virtual high five.
We will. And it's been awful. It's not, as you expect, it's not nice, and as you can see, I've lost my hair, but I don't actually mind that. I don't mind it.
I actually think it looks good.
I quite like it.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's like fluffy, but I think it looks quite cool.
I tried what they called, you can have a cold cap, I don't know
Cold
if you've
cap.
ever heard
I
of
have
those.
heard of the cold cap.
Which basically
I've learnt that
freezes
word
your
before.
head.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Did you try that?
I did it twice, and you always lose some of your hair anyway, even with the cold cap, and I lost probably about 40%, which was not bad, but it was right where my parting was, and you could just see it.
Yeah.
So I rung Ashley and said, come on, we'll brave the shave.
Did he shave the head?
He did. Well, one of my granddaughters cut a bit. We had the whole family there.
Oh, bless you.
And then he did that, and I put it on Facebook, and I've raised a lot of money.
Oh, that's do you know what? And that's what's been really interesting about speaking to the different women and seeing how their journey was, because some were quiet, they didn't want anyone to know, they were, you know, and then some have done charity campaigns for it and raised money, and you know, for me, I'm like, whatever gets you through it, do whatever.
And
it
was a bit like I took back control.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
I'm not going to wake up and see on my pillow this blonde hair.
I'll just take it off.
And I mean, I gave a check yesterday. I was lucky that my work matched everything that I raised, but £4,600.
Wow.
So that's gone to the Maggie's Centre in Leeds.
I've heard of Maggie's.
Which the Leeds will only open last November.
So have you had some support from when you found out that you had the breast cancer? Did you get given charities, or was it anything like that?
I did, but to be honest, they're all sort of closed down.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say with COVID. Is it affected that?
So I did a virtual makeup lesson last Friday, which was quite good. It was quite good, just sort of saying what to do if you haven't got eyebrows, etc., and eyelashes, because my eyelashes are going now. But so there's that sort of support, and there is people you can ring. Yeah. But the Maggie's Centre, with it being next to St James's, where I'm having the chemo and radio after that, I sort of pop in for a coffee, and it's quite a nice atmosphere. Yeah. So so that's my horrendous year.
Well, that's the thing. I think everybody's had a horrendous year, but yours
is like 10 times
it's been a lot worse. Yeah. I've been so interested to learn about how different it's been, because I've heard so many stories now to learn how different it's been for you with COVID, and it's just dreadful, absolutely dreadful.
And it's the doing it on your own, I think, that's been, I don't think anybody should have to do this on their own, but I understand.
And that's why I think, you know, every person I've spoken to, I'm like, you're an inspiration, and you're a warrior. But I think for you, like, it's almost double that, because you've pretty much done this.
Done it in a different city.
In a different time. Yeah. It's such a scary time as it is, isn't it, you know?
And not being able to sort of hug your kids.
That's what I mean. Or even just, you know, going to these appointments and having somebody there with you, you know? I imagine that's such a big thing, but what an absolute legend.
It's just been awful.
You're an absolute legend.
I've got there. So
you have, and you've got to your last, so you're on your last
chemo tomorrow. Then I've got about 4 or 5 weeks
So
off.
will you ring the bell tomorrow? Or do you ring that?
I'll ring, no, I'm going to do it when I finish the radiotherapy. Which I think I need, I'll find out tomorrow, but I need a week's worth of radiotherapy.
Well, that's not too bad.
Again, because of COVID, that's an advantage, because they used to do 3 weeks worth of sessions, but they now give you a higher dose and do it over a week.
Gosh. I was just about to say, the ladies have said radiotherapy is not as bad as chemo.
I don't think it is.
But if you're having a high dosage in a week, maybe it'll be, but then you'll have it done in a week.
It's done in a week, and then I've sort of finished until next year, then I shall ring that bell.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, what I would like to say to anyone is, and I didn't do it, is you must check your boobs.
So this campaign we're working on, and you know, our audience are younger, and I think there's that kind of perception that, oh, I'm young, I'm all right, I don't need to worry, but I think detection is key in it, and you know, and I've said it to everyone, but getting in a routine with it, and it just being a completely normal thing to do.
I mean, I'm at the age where I've had mammograms, so I didn't check myself because I thought, well, I'd pick it up on a mammogram, and I was due a mammogram about now, but of course it's had 3 years to grow. I'm in a group on Facebook, and there's so many girls in their 20s and 30s that have got it. It's awful.
It's terrible, and I think being able to you know, even the education system for me, I think it should just be introduced to that, because I mean, the facts and stats on it are ridiculous, you know, and I think for young women, old women, and men,
It does affect men. I mean, it's not common, but it does. But
yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming
Nice
in,
to
and I
see
hope you everything else from here on out goes fabulous. And I hope that COVID does one.
I need to do one. I need to go on holiday.
Oh, I think
I
you need
just
a
love
holiday.
my holidays. We love them.
You need a big party. You need to hug everyone.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
Can't wait.
yeah. But absolute warrior.
Thanks for having me.